Hello friend and welcome back once again to Gary Grigsby's Warn East. I am back here in turn 19. Let's execute our meager air directives that will probably not result in too much. Oh well. Doesn't really matter at this point. Anyway. That might be because we have absolutely nothing to do with the Air Force during these torrential rains. Exactly. Alright, let's continue here. I do want to be solid with everything. There we go. Now, by moving you in here, that should guarantee that everything there is ready. Now, I actually need... In order to clear Kronstadt, I need, I think, at least like 3 units out there. Well, you don't need to be in refit, but these guys do. Meanwhile, I want to start sending some guys over to this location. I also want to send you, by the way. Did get 8 men into that fortified zone last turn. So of course absolutely amazing. Now these guys have a lot of flak and some artillery. I actually probably need to clear that. I'll do it in a bit. Either way, I'll send you down here and let's start working on that rail. So I got it up to Leningrad, and now let's take Mga as our final depot location over here. That still makes it have to move quite a bit, but that way I can at least work still this for now on a rail line to Chudovo before turning Leningrad into a super depot, I think. Because it's probably going to be quite necessary. Anyway, we are fine over here for the moment. Not so much here. I'm gonna move these guys out, but I need to reach a rail line, which is either all the way down here or all the way down here. Let's move. And there's going to be the 28th that's gonna withdraw. If only I could move oh. I'll be switching those guys up with Polizei, but for now I'll just let them continue to dig in here. Obviously my position around there is not particularly great either. Nothing I can do here nor here at the moment. Although I guess with this now already being at level 1, I kind of want to support these other 2 units, especially this hex, where I'll also build a fortified zone, which again will already be having enough to deal with, probably. Like, I don't think they'll get filled that quickly, but you never know. This will link them up. Okay. So put a depot at Kaluga over here. It's gonna be level 4. Vyazma is gonna go to 3. And Smolensk to level 2. Okay. Well, that begs the question, what do I still want to do? Well, I actually want to have a rail line from Kursk to Kharkov all the way down there. That's pretty much the last thing that I want to do before I'm gonna work on winter stuff, but it's going along reasonably well. Either way. You don't see why I would need to do that. At any rate, I'm gonna send these Hungarians absolutely nowhere. I mean, they're all very weak at this stage, but I don't feel like trying to move them at this point is going to achieve all that much for me. You need to withdraw, so they might as well help dig in. I really want to get at least that Panzer location up to level 2, because they'll be in serious, even more trouble if they don't make it. Over here, I pretty much have all my units set, except for this motorized unit. I want to get them out. Well, I do also want to get you out over to the Axis Reserves. You are going to the Axis Reserves. And you are going to the Axis Reserves. Yeah. There we go. And then because the 72nd is actually doing pretty well, I want to move the 9th Romanian Cavalry Division in there, so that they look somewhat more beefed up, with the emphasis on somewhat. And let's continue moving the rail line. Of course, a bit of a pickle now that there are so many units there too. Oh well. I did get it up to Rostov, so let's build a depot up in here before I move these guys back to Makivka. Their supplies look slightly better with all these Panzer divisions gone. The emphasis on slightly better, but it's still better than nothing. Meanwhile, Romanians working on some rail, which is okay. I got a bunch of these forces needed Brest-Litovsk. Let's start with the 8th SS Cavalry Brigade, which I think should be going over here so it can replace that Panzer Division probably. That's, I think, a good choice. Let's see. 10th Motorized. Get out of here. Get out of here. Let's leave them there for the moment. And that deployment was at Brest. I'll send both of these RFSS units over here. Together with the French Infantry Division. Or it's not a division, battalion that is. Regiment. Never mind. Because I don't like this forward position. I need it reinforced. These tanks will get to level 2. I don't want to say just fine, but I think they'll get there. Some of these other units need a little bit more convincing. These guys are pretty powerful, so I do expect them to be able to take Kronstadt at least soon. Let's go to the OKH. The OKH is at Minsk, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Also because, I mean, I do have those flag battalions, but that's fine. Isn't it? It is not the 2nd of November. This is this turn. I'll get those next turn. Okay. Fine. It's just fine. One of the weird things is that one of the weird things that the Finnish are still fighting in this area. That's kind of weird. They don't have any ports, so it's not a problem at that, but it's just weird. Okay. Yeah, because dishing out that flak it's not really that useful right now. It doesn't really matter. Right, so actually I'll just be moving along here. I have 7 AP, but since I cannot get men to some of these places at this stage anyway, we're still at 8%. That's just an embarrassment. Well, let's just see how effective that ultimately is. These guys are actually doing fairly well, since I do expect some heavy attacks to happen there, just like these. I'm actually somewhat impressed here. Not gonna lie. It's looking pretty good. I mean, we're behind on schedule, of course, when it comes to that stuff. Let's see, though. We have heavy rain, and the next turn there's gonna be A lot of regular rain. Okay. Well, that's something. Regular rain, even up in the north, huh? Wonder if they will allow me attack at Oranienbaum. So I'm getting fort levels actually before the Soviet turn. Because some of these already switched, not all of them for sure. So I wonder if we get it before and after our logistics phase. Like both of them. That's an interesting theory. At any rate. I wonder also how many of those divisions from that location I can move back. Once Leningrad is done. Just like with the 11th Army, not being forced to have that army near Sevastopol, for example, does free you up for quite a bit of movement. Seems like they're actually doing some stuff right now. Once again, well, actually with the weather taking a turn for the worst, or I should say for the better in some way during this turn, I might see the Soviets a bit more aggressive. Well, they've been attacking before, so I don't really see why they would not be attacking now. But that's at least one front that didn't do a whole lot. Actually, somewhat surprised. But I guess they're just not attacking a whole lot at the moment. Not even here. That's wow. Especially since his infantry is not super powerful, so. Yeah, it's actually funny that right in front of Moscow I actually do have level 2 fortifications. So I am digging in pretty heavily. I cannot remove those tanks, but... as much as I'd want to, because that will probably also take away some of the Soviet resistance right in front of Moscow. Sadly, I cannot, and that also means that I'll probably not be able to take Moscow as it is like this. Also, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rail lines getting in there at the moment. Technically, I've only cut off 3 major rail lines getting into Moscow. But I'm 1 hex away from removing 2, in a way. Events. Axis finish offensive ends. Okay, so that's up here. That's good. Lend-Lease dollars. October the 30th, 1941, U.S. President Roosevelt approves $1 billion in Lend-Lease aid to the Soviet Union. Note picture an M3 Stuart light tank and a dismantled Douglas A-20 Boston aircraft on board a cargo ship. I ain't going to do anything. We'll take a look at everything once this is done. Nothing. This is going super slow. Yeah, let's work on that that rail. So it will take at least another turn before I get the Trudeau rail there. This is probably not the right time to do this. Oh wow, they went to back to 15,000. That's quite something. 8 to 16. Okay. Well, once the snow hits, they are ready for some action, I guess. Yeah, I'll keep them working on it. No, I already have a full division there. Could you move in there? No, you can't. What I could do here is take this. Having an entire division there is also better because they have more chances to attack these, actually with 3 units. So I guess I might just as well put these guys in there as a full division. That should help somewhat. Also helps the blue infantry divisions since they're spread out over a smaller area. 142, it didn't help that much on these. But again, the attacks here are not that serious. I was actually... Let's take a look at the weather in the air. Next turn will probably not be troubled by this blizzard that much, although I do feel like a part of the front in the north might be burdened by it, but for the most part it's just going to be cold. So there's that. You're gonna withdraw. Let's move you there, and I'll switch over the HQ in a bit. Now they actually got men in there. Wow! Holy cow! Would not have expected that. How far are you? 76, 98, 62. All right, let's actually wait. First of all, I want let's take a look at the rail lines. This rail is actually green, but this part is yellow because of the additional units. Okay, so I need you to go to Kursk. Off the train you go. And there's probably heavy mine, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, you can only go in this hex. I know they are going to withdraw. Yeah. Look, at least it gets one Panzer division out. Actually inclined though to let them help with the fortifications, because those are not going entirely super according to plan. Most of those. And it also means I kind of want to have these guys work a bit with that. Maybe they can help out digging in. Should have done that before. To really start beefing that up. It's funny, this rail line to Kiev, but the yeah, I kind of wanted this rail line. Yeah. At least I'm getting a rail line from Taganrog now, connected to this rail net. That's also pretty good. If I'm getting one from Kursk, yeah, the problem is that if I were to move like this, it's gonna take at least another turn. So I should probably see these guys working up this rail and then moving up. It will probably take me as much time. So at that point the question becomes, what do I want to do over in this area before I start turning, I think, even Mozhaisk into a super depot. Because what I could do, one thing I could do is work up here. If we look, the crazy part is I technically have this rail line moving all the way up here. I don't have Western Moscow. There's no connection. Another thing I could do is work from Zhukinishki to Smolensk. Might be a better idea, though I just wasted that other rail unit there. It's not snowing yet, so I might just as well take advantage of the situation here, that I can still do this. Otherwise, also, I would need, my unit would need to go all the way around, and now it might actually go straight in that line. I know that for the most part, if we look at the rail lines, it's still all bad. As you can see here. And I also still have no active rail even getting close to the Crimea. Having road through the center would also not be bad. It's also a double rail. So the one from Gomel to Bryansk. This double rail. Alright, well. Too much worrying about double rails, I suppose. These guys are 20,000 strong. And it means that you can do that. They're also withdrawing. Again, that is something that I need to take into consideration. So I'll move you up here as well, and then have the 9,001 going here. That doesn't maybe seem like that amazing, but since they're gonna withdraw the 8th Infantry Division, I need a replacement there, and this is it. It should be a 9 then, yeah. I also have this French Infantry Division. The problem with those guys is that they're not as powerful. Or, I mean, they're only 3,500 men strong. That's a lot less threatening. But I moved them probably together with this motorized division, so they can reinforce those guys. But you're already overburdened. Not so much as these. What I'll do is the 47th. At 7. If I do it like that, you can be put on the 8th, and then they're okay. Excellent. So they can join in as reinforcements, and I do have these guys going to Pino, so they can actually go and move up as well. One other thing here is if the armor groups. Not the armor groups. I needed the OKH, which is in Minsk. Please remember that. So I need to put the 8th SS Cavalry Brigade. These labor detachments can already move somewhere. And thing is that I have a mind to put them under the 11th Army. You guys have freaking ass 3 road construction units. Give them to the 30th. And this is the need to get to the 54th. Really, it takes that much to get there? What the heck is your problem? Why can you not give it to the 54th Corps? Oh, they must... I get it now. They're too far away. Because they're attached. These guys can stay there on refit. And... I'm not particularly impressed by their ability to dig in these swamps. Or clear terrain. It is really going painstakingly slow. I do find that surprising. Those guys might have a little bit longer because they are not because they still have that major river there that they have to overcome. That's weird. 43rd. Yep. And there's also barely any. There are no supply depots in there. Yeah, I currently only have one division that can actually move in there and then attack at Kronstadt, because you cannot do that from the other side. You can only attack Kronstadt from this area by moving into this hex and then attacking, so I need to wait. There's no way to do it now. At any rate, I'll be taking care of the last few things. One thing that I want to look at though for now is actually the regular reserve units. So I have a bunch of these units that can technically already be sent back. They're doing a lot better than they used to, it seems like. 85. Let's take a look at 11 Panzer. 75 in terms of elements. They're doing a lot better. They still have a bunch of damage tanks, but overall, I think like for these Panzer divisions, we back up to 70-80% of their strength. I will probably send some of them back to the map, like not 7th Panzer Division or 13th. Motorized Rifle Squad Plus, huh? That's right, Motorized Division looking pretty good now. Could move back 36th. They're looking pretty reasonable. It will take a turn at least to get them back to the map too. So I do think it's worth contemplating whether I want to send back some units from the map or from the reserves back to the map. Especially in terms of Panzer divisions, etc. Because we'll be having winter soon regardless of what's going on here. We definitely don't have level 2 fortifications in most of the locations. We have only this month, and I don't feel like we're going to make it. which is actually rather interesting. But anyway, I'll be back with some reorganization, so meet you on the other side. Alright, I'm back, and let's talk about my redeployment while we're going through the Soviet turn. So we're gonna get Blizzard up north there, and we've seen that in the weather report already. Now, besides that, what I did is down the south, I removed most of the Panzer units, and 1st Panzer is now relatively small. So 11th Army took over for the most part. Whereas, besides, I got 2 of the Panzers back from the reserve, so my units in the reserve, once they get over 85% of their TOE and they have no more damaged units, I kind of want to send them back to the Eastern Front. In this case, the Panzers will have to act as a reserve unit to plug any gaps. Just a bunch of recon. For the moment. Okay. That's no good. I mean, they halted the attack, but the fortifications are gone. They do have triple stacks around that area now. This also went down to level 1. How do they lose 5 planes if they're not flying? Finally, they have some decent losses there for change. Really? Sometimes I'm amazed when the Soviets actually have less losses than we do in their attacks. I mean, even this looks nice, but it's not actually that great. It's a 5-to-1 ratio. Whereas I was kind of hoping for something better. I'm happy that they lost so much, but... Don't like all the shuffling around either. Right, they're losing a bunch of Li2s at least here. And that was it for the moment. First of the winter turns. Though we're not suffering those nasty attrition type of losses just about yet. Which is good, because we'll be having those for quite a few months. And things will be tough during those months. During this turn, I'll try to still inflict as many losses upon the Soviets as possible. Get them to rout, things like that. Because that means there will be slightly less Soviet forces on the front line during those winter turns. Alright, seems like the Soviets also backed out in a few of these areas. Seems like. Events. Stalin speaks out. November the 6th, 1941. Soviet leader Joseph Stalin addresses the Soviet Union for only the second time during his 3-decade rule. The first time was July 3rd, 1941. He states that even though 3,500 troops were killed in German attacks so far... events, it's an info screens. Whoops. So far that the Germans have lost 4.5 million soldiers. A gross exaggeration. Gross? And that Soviet victory is near. Karelian Isthmus. So they still haven't... Oh, okay, yeah. Over here. Good. Yeah, so they actually smacked these guys down a fort level significant portion. I need some serious reinforcement in these areas. They're really trying to push towards Chudovo, interestingly enough. So, yeah, that'll be something to look for. Either way, I'll be wrapping things up. Want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Oh yeah, let's go over those changes, or at least show them. So like I said, this is a little bit less, more of the 11th Army. These guys are still working on these rail lines over here, which I greatly appreciate. Now I did send 2 of those to the 2nd Panzer groups in hopes that they'd be working around this area, but they don't. Oh well. But still, you know, working on these rail lines, I think this is actually a useful hex to convert either way. So yeah, that's there. We now have, like I said, next turn we'll be getting the 36th Motorized Division and 3rd Panzer Division on the map. Or that's now. Where did they arrive? Can I... Oh, I said it here. Oh, I need to set that to Warsaw. Okay, well, that kind of sucks, but they're in reasonable TOE shape. They're, of course, at 0 combat prep points. Either way, if we take a look at the numbers, Soviets are back up to 3 million after all that waiting in the mud, whereas we have barely any additional forces whatsoever, although we do have some in reserve. Slightly more than the Soviets do, at least. Also 1,000 tanks in reserve. We're going to have to send some of those over. We still have more total forces, but that won't last long. If we look at the losses, Soviet losses are 3.7 million now. If we look at the weather, currently there is... I need to look at the weather air. For this turn, there is some blizzard here. Next turn, there's just going to be only cold. And the weather for next turn, or the ground, should be mostly clear or light snow. It seems like. And then throughout Europe there's going to be mud and heavy mud, but that's not that interesting. In terms of the logistics, most of my units not even get close to the amount of supplies that they need, unfortunately. Then there are some losses. Interestingly, that they have Western Europe losses. It's kind of weird. North Africa makes a lot more sense, obviously. Blah blah blah. Finland losses, etc., etc. Air execution. It's not too interesting. Replacements on some of the air bases. Arrivals. Some arrivals there. 3rd Panzer, etc., etc. A bunch of units arrived. Went to Western Europe. We have some upgrades here to airframes and chassis. This is all air. No, not air. Most of these are air group changes. Aircraft swaps. Some ships, oil, and production. Right, anyway, I'm gonna wrap things up. I want to thank you for watching. Do hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Take care, see you next time, and bye-bye.